Hey everybody, this is Dr. Amy with Physical Therapy for Everybody, and I am doing my first Facebook Live. Hey guys, great to see you this morning. Welcome to a lovely morning here in Washington. I'm Dr. Amy Konvalin, and I am doing my first Facebook Live here, so hopefully this will all go super well, and we'll get a chance to chat today. If you're here, if you could put a comment in the comment box just so I know who all's here, that would be phenomenal. I'm hoping to be able to see those comments. Still trying to figure out how this all works. So bear with me as we kind of work through this. I appreciate your patience with me as we work through this. So today's topic is communication. And the reason why I chose this topic is because of an incident that happened a couple weeks ago with my family. So I'm going to start off with that story, but first I want to give you a little background on my family. So if we haven't met yet, so if we have met, you know that I have two children, two girls. So if we haven't met yet, I want to tell you a little bit about those girls. So my oldest is a mini-me. So she looks like me. She has all the character traits of me, and she hates it when I say that. But it's true. She's really smart. She's a hard charger. She has awesome goals and aspirations for her future. And of course, we butt heads pretty regularly because she's a mini-me. She's just like me. Now, my youngest is not at all like me. She is very artistic. She's very creative. She's a ballerina. And she has different aspirations in the arts. And so the interesting thing about her is she actually has the physical talent to be able to do things within the arts, in ballet particularly. And my family, when I'm talking about my extended family here, we are not known for our physical abilities. I would say on both sides of the family, what we have is perseverance. We're known for pushing through, and that long-term commitment to things. But I wouldn't say as a family that we have the ability to physically perform at a really high level. So it's a little bit about my kiddos. So here's the story. So we had dentist appointments set up on the same day, but the girls had theirs earlier. So theirs were earlier in the day, and they both went in together. And so they saw the dentist and, asked their questions and stuff like that. So Matt and I went in later on in the evening and, saw the same dentist, obviously. And so when the dentist came in, they always say, hey, what do you have planned for this summer? For this appointment was, what do you have planned for the summer? And I said, well, my oldest, I said my youngest is going to be doing a summer dance intensive, but it's going to be at home this year instead of in person. And my youngest will be doing school this summer. And so that's pretty much our summer right there. Our lives revolve around our children. So that's pretty much our summer plans right there. And he was like, oh yeah. I talked to them. I remember they were in here earlier today, and he's like, yeah, your younger one said she dances a lot. She dances several hours per day. And I said, my typical response, I was like, yeah, I'm like, she's pretty dedicated to it. We don't really know where she came from. Because again, she has this physical ability. It's not really our norm for our family. And he says, oh, well, I'm sure both of your children are lovely. And he said it in a way that was like kind of a conversation stopper. It was kind of like, oh, well, we shouldn't be valuing one child over the other. I'm sure both of your children have talent, which I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree that both my children have talent. It's just very different. And with my oldest, I get her. She's just like me. My youngest is very different. So it's just very unusual for me. So anyway, it was just one of those things that just stopped the conversation, which was fine because, you know, you're at the dentist, so you need to open your mouth so you can look inside anyway. So it was not a problem. But I went home and the rest of the family was there and we sat down and had dinner. And I was telling the girls and Matt about this conversation. And my oldest said, well, that's really strange because I told him I was going to summer school this summer. And I was like, wait a second, did you tell him you're going to summer school? Or did you tell him that you were taking calculus and chemistry during the summer? And she's like, well, I just told him I was going to summer school. And all of a sudden, I realized what had happened, that the dentist, when I was talking about my youngest, I sounded like, you know, I was potentially bragging or really proud of her and her ability. But he was thinking that my oldest was going to summer school and maybe had not passed a class and needed to retake it during summer school, which is fair. Most people think when you're going to summer school, it's because you didn't pass something and you need to retake it. So it was in that moment that I realized, and I looked at her and I said, baby, you can't tell people you're going to summer school. You need to tell people you're taking calculus and chemistry during the summer, because that's a whole different thing. See, the reason why she's taking calculus and chemistry during the summer is because she doesn't have time in her regular schedule to finish these series. She needs to start on other things in the fall. So we agreed that we would pay for the summer courses so that she can then transfer them to a 4-year university when she's ready to do that next year. It's a little bit different than going to summer school because you didn't pass a class and you need to retake it. So it was funny at the time, and as a family we laughed about it. But as I thought about it further, I thought about the importance of communication and the challenges that we come into when we only know so much of someone's story. Right now, if you know me and you know my children, when I say that my youngest has physical talent and we don't know where it came from, you understand it's implied that my oldest is just like me and I understand exactly where she came from. It doesn't mean I'm less proud of her. I just understand it. She's a hard charger. She has, you know, these goals and aspirations. She works really hard at school. I understand all that. That was me. So that's the difference between my youngest and my oldest. But if you don't know me and my family and you haven't been around, I can understand where from the surface when I say I don't understand where my youngest came from because she's so different than the rest of the family, that may look like I favor her over the oldest. So all of this became super clear to me in that moment. And the idea that what we're communicating, even though I can communicate the same message to two different people, the context around that message provides a lot of value to that. If I talk to my best friend and say, oh yeah, you know, Lorelai has physical talent and we don't know where she came from, that's a lot different than talking to the dentist who has no frame of reference on me and my family. And in these times, that's what I've realized, is that we live in a world that's extremely virtual. We're connecting with each other more and more virtually now. And the web is extending, right? So I may be friends with this person and this person posts something on Facebook, let's say, and their friends comment, right? So my web, the people I have contact with expands, but I don't necessarily have that context behind their story, behind what they walk through. So when they say something, I'm only reacting to what's actually written in the post, what's actually on the page. I don't understand the reference that comes in behind it, because that causes a lot of different impact with people, right? When you understand that reference, the story that comes in behind it provides a lot of context to that situation. So in this virtual world that we live in now, it's more and more important to have those really clear lines of communication and to have those ability to hear other people's stories. Because if I just say one thing, if I just say one line, it doesn't necessarily give you the whole picture and the complete truth of what's going on in my world. Um, so it's very important to have context when we're trying to have conversations, when we're trying to explain ourselves on a deeper level. Now, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you see somebody in the story say, "Hey, how are you today?" "I'm good." You don't necessarily need to have a deep, in-depth conversation with everybody, but particularly when it comes to your health, it is important to work with people who understand your story. So, working with people who understand the whole situation about what's going on. That's part of the challenge in healthcare today, is that a lot of people feel like they don't have the opportunity to sit down and really talk with their doctors and to really be able to get that whole full picture of things. I remember when my kids were little, and we would go in for like our yearly checkups, I would kind of have my scanner list of things that I would talk about with the doctor. I was like, okay, so remember this one, and I kind of go through all the things that we had dealt with in the past to remind him, because, they see so many people and we really only went in once a year. And so it was important to just kind of like, okay, here's the highlight, here's the highlight reel before we go into this appointment, and have the conversations about any questions that we may have at the time. So how we have taken that and brought that into our company, into physical therapy for everybody, is that we start by hearing your story. So when you call us and that initial contact, the first thing we're going to do is ask you, will you tell us your story? We want to understand more about you. We want to understand more about who you are as a person, how this issue is impacting your life, and what more of the whole picture, so that we can help guide you in the best direction, because we want to help you make sure you make the best decision about your health and the direction you need to go. So I had someone come in. So we do that through what we call a discovery visit. So we have that initial phone call. If we think that you're potentially a good fit for us, we have you come in for a discovery visit, which is a 20-minute free consultation. And again, we just want to make sure we've heard your story, we've seen you in person, we get a chance to see, does this, do we think we can help you, right? Because we want to know that before we move forward with any more treatment. So this week we had somebody come in. She had contacted us. She had fallen off a horse a couple weeks ago, and she had a friend who was a doctor who had checked her out at the time and said, I don't think anything's broken. It's just probably some bruising and stuff like that. You should be fine in like a week or two. Here's what I would recommend that you take for medication and stuff. So now it's a couple weeks later and she's not feeling fine. So when she called initially, her question was, I don't even know where to start. And so that was the conversation we had on the phone. Well, let me hear your story. Let's kind of talk through some things. Found out that, she had consulted with a friend who was a doctor, but, who could clearly rule out if anything was broken or not, right? Because obviously if something's broken, I don't fix things that are broken, like bones. Like you need to go to see a medical doctor for that. So we talked about that, and we talked about, what could potentially be going on and who she could potentially be seeing for those things. And it seemed like potentially a good fit for her to start physical therapy, because we can work on soft tissue, we can work on joints, we can work on exercise, to get her back to horseback riding, which is her goal. So she was interested in starting with a full evaluation, but I was like, I still want to see you in person before we make the decision to go forward with a full evaluation. Because I just wanted to, I wanted to see her. I wanted to get some eyes on her and make sure again that that I understood her story, that I was able to see how her body was moving and make sure that she was going to be a good fit for coming in here. So, she understood that, and that sounded really good, but she also really wanted to get started. So what we actually did is we scheduled her for a discovery visit for a 20-minute free consultation, and then we scheduled her for an evaluation right after. So the agreement was we would do the discovery visit, have more talking time, make sure I understood her story completely, watch her move a little bit, and then if I felt like, yes, this is a good fit, this is where you need to be, then we would roll into that full evaluation. And she really appreciated that. She really appreciated the fact that we wanted to make sure we were the best fit for her healthcare, and then she would have the option to move into getting some treatment and getting some help right away, which is what she wanted. She was tired of dealing with this. She knew that the sooner she dealt with it, the sooner it would go away, which she's right. And so that's what we did. We ended up, she was a good fit for here. She moved into a full evaluation, and we were able to get her started on her healing journey. But it all starts with communication. And it was great that she called in and said, I don't know if this is even what I need to be doing. And I really appreciated that statement and the question of, are you a good fit for me? Because it really gave us a chance to explore that, to explore her story, what was going on, and to have that conversation about whether or not she was the best fit for us. And I definitely appreciate that at this company, we have the one-on-one care where we see people one at a time, usually for an hour. We have a half-hour option, but most of our patients do come in for an hour, because it gives us that time while we're working with you and helping you to hear more about your story, because your background and what's going on in your life affects you physically as well as emotionally, and we need to figure out how all of those things are coming together and how they're affecting you so that we can create the best plan for you moving forward. And so it's definitely something I really appreciate, is the fact that we have this opportunity to have, really some long stretches of time to be able to treat the whole person. I actually had a patient earlier this week who said exactly that. She's like, I really appreciate the fact that you guys haven't just healed my body, but you've helped me change how I do things in my life. You've treated the whole person. And so then I can take these skills and use them everywhere. And that's really our goal, is that we're not just going to fix your knee or fix your shoulder, but we're going to look at that in the bigger context of your story and of your life. So, so that's what I wanted to come on here and share with you guys today. I know it's a little weird when you call us for the first time and we're like, hey, can we talk for 10 to 15 minutes so we can hear your story? And people definitely aren't used to that. And most people are really happy about it, but it is a little disarming. So I wanted to put this out there. So if you haven't had contact with us yet, so that when you call, we're going to ask to hear your story. We want to know more about you. We want to make sure that you are a good fit for us, that we are a good fit for you, that we can help empower you to make the best decisions about your healthcare. And that starts with communication. We need to make sure that we understand you, and we need to make sure that we can help you. I don't want somebody coming in here and leaving and feeling like I didn't get the transformation I was looking for. I didn't feel like I got what I wanted. We didn't meet my goals. I want to make sure that when you walk out of here, you have seen that transformation and you are back to doing all the things you want to do, that I've communicated with you and answered every single one of your questions. And that's one reason why we have such long appointments, is because we want to give you time to ask your questions to the depth that you want. I have some patients who are like, okay, so Why does this hurt? How is everything connected? And they really want to understand the anatomy. And I have some patients who are just like, just tell me what I need to do to get rid of this. And so either way, it's absolutely fine. I mean, we'll meet you where you are in regards to your story and how much you want to know, but feel free to ask us any questions. Ask us all the questions. I have patients who come in and they have the questions written down. They're like, okay, these are the things I need to cover today. These are the questions that I have, which is great. I love being able to have those conversations and teach people. That's one of my big things I love teaching. And I love when you are empowered to be able to help your body when you're outside of here, right? Because you're only here for like an hour a week. There's still so many more hours in the week. We want to make sure that you are doing everything you can to help yourself, and then you understand what to do to help yourself. So let's see, Miss Wendy said, yes, you give whole care and you do not rush the process, so you can really listen to not only our words, but our bodies. Yes, Wendy, thank you so much for writing that. That's absolutely true. That really is the core of our goal here, is that we want to make sure we treat the whole person. We want to make sure you treat that you achieve the transformation that you're looking for, and we want to make sure that you're empowered moving forward to be able to continue to care for yourself. It's not, oh, you walk out of here pain-free and that's the end of the story. We want to give you those tools for that long-term success. And it starts with communication. So that's why I started the Facebook Live series with communication, because it's so key to what we do here. And I would say it's so key to what makes us different, is that we create the space, we create the time, we create the processes for that communication to happen, because we want to make sure that, again, we are the best fit for you. You are the best fit for us. And yes, have I sent people other places? Yes, because sometimes their goals don't align with what we offer, and there's someplace else that they can get more of what they're looking for. And I'm fine to do that. I want to make sure that, again, you get what you need, and everybody's different. Every story is different. Every person's goals are different. I have some people who come in and they're just like, they're not looking for the transformation. They're like, I just want the pain to go away, and I don't, that's it. I don't want the education. I don't want the discussion. I don't want the transformation. And that's absolutely fine. There's definitely other physical therapy clinics in this area that will do that for you. And we would be happy to refer you to the one that we feel would be the best fit for you, or even give you all of their options. But we want to help people with that transformation. We want to help people get to the top of the mountain and be able to do all the things that they want to do. So it really starts with communication, and that's a key foundation of what we do here, what we pride ourselves on, and what really makes us different. So I hope that this has been helpful. I thought it was pretty funny that we started at the dentist's office with my daughters, but that just made me realize the importance of communication, as well as the importance of communicating with you guys. That kind of sparked this whole idea of doing the Facebook Lives, because I want to put this out here. I want to help talk about this stuff with people who haven't come into our office yet. So you know more about us, so you can make the best decision for your healthcare. If you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not the person I want to spend time with, feel free to call us and we'll help you find someone who is a better fit for you. But if you are looking for someone to help you and you like what you're hearing and you say, that's what I want to be treated in the context of my story, I want someone to hear the whole thing, I can offer you a free discovery visit. It's a 20-minute initial consultation. We don't do really any treatment or anything like that. The goal of that is really to make sure, again, that we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us, and we're on the same page about what we want moving forward. If at the end of that we don't, one of us says, no, this isn't really what I'm looking for, at least we know your story, and hopefully we can help guide you to someone who will be able to provide that experience for you. So that's all I have for today. I hope that this has been helpful. I appreciate you guys watching. Once I figure out how to do this, hopefully this will be posted on our Facebook page, and we'll post it a couple other places as well to get this word out. And so if you are a patient and you are like, hey, I have a friend who needs to hear this message, please feel free to send it to them or tag them. I think then they can be able to see it. But I appreciate your time this morning, guys. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. Have a great day.